Hi everyone, and today we will talk about the film Crash and why it is a really good example for this topic and how it helps us understand what happens when people from different cultural backgrounds interact. So why this topic matters? In a global society, we meet people from many cultures, races, and language backgrounds on a daily basis. So this makes our lives richer, but also means we face more misunderstanding and even conflicts. Sometimes those problems don't come from bad intention, but from fear, past experience, or social inequality. So it's important for us to look how cross-cultural communication works in real life and why things can go wrong so easily. And why Crash fits this topic. The reason Crash is perfect for this course is that the whole movie is built on these communication problems, and it takes place in Los Angeles, a very multicultural city, and uses many short storylines that connect in surprising ways. And we see people from different racial and cultural groups crashing into each other. Not only physically, but emotionally and socially. What made the film powerful is that it shows the deeper forces behind this interaction. People make assumptions, they carry stereotypes, they feel fear or uncertainty, and they react based on their position in the society. This idea matches directly with that we study in class, like power distance, cultural identity, anxiety in communication, and prejudice. And the story happened within about 36 hours and includes many characters. A local attorney, two young black men, a Latino locksmith, a shop owner, a black film director, and two white police officers. They lived across because of the robbery, accidents, fears, and misunderstanding. Some people act with prejudice, and some people think they are terrible but still make mistakes. And sometimes the same person can be both a victim and a criminal. To some extent, every character in this film is a victim of the social system, the class inequality, and racial prejudice. And I will leave the follow parts to my teammates.
Briefly talk about how Crash illustrates two major problems in intercultural communication: stereotyping and anxiety. First, stereotypes simplify complex social realities and strongly influence how people perceive others. In Crash, Officer Ryan stereotypes black characters as dangerous, while Fahar is labeled a terrorist simply because of his appearance. These stereotypes turn communication into group-based interaction rather than personal exchange, often leading to discrimination and conflict. Second, the film reflects Goddard's anxiety and uncertainty management theory. Characters like Fahar and Officer Hampson fail to manage fear and uncertainty, which leads to tragic misjudgments and violence. Overall, Crush shows that effective intercultural communication requires not only cultural knowledge, but also emotional culture and self-awareness. Without them, misunderstanding and conflict are likely to escalate.
A powerful case study for cultural communication. Key opening line: in a globalized world, diversity brings richness and risks of cross. Cultural conflict rooted not in malice, but in fear and inequality. Why Crash fits the topic? The film's alignment with cross-cultural communication theories. First, setting narrative core: Los Angeles, a highly musical city, interwoven storylines of diverse characters crashing physically and socially. Second, key cross-cultural concepts interacted power, distance, social position impacts on interactions. Cultural identity and its influence on perception, communication anxiety and stereotype-driven assessment, produce overt and implied in daily exchanges. Character dynamics central message, character interactions, the film's core. First, diverse character roster: local attorney, black man, shop owner, black film director, white police officer. Second, interconnected events: robberies, car accidents, fear-driven conflicts, intended misunderstandings. Third, control message: almost everyone is shaped by social symptoms, class inequality, and racial prejudice, making the film an excellent to study real-world cross-cultural communication. That's all. Thank you.
Overall, prejudice and cultural identity strong affect how people communication. Because black people often feel stress because they are afraid of being judged, while white people may have hidden bias or act too carefully because of this. Both sides feel nervous and real communication becomes difficult. This is why cross-cultural communication can easily go wrong. This is also why the movie Crush is a good example. In the film, people from different races meet, but they often misunderstand each other because of film. A post-experience and society pressure. For example, Cameron tries to stay calm and polite to fit into a white industry, but after many white experience, he finally calls control. Anthony also feels confused. He lives in a white mainstream society but wants to keep his black identity white, which makes his behavior complex. Crush shows that reception is not only about individual but also about the whole social system. Now I will pass the presentation to my teammate for the next part.
In Crash, conflicts between cultures are not just about differences in culture. A bigger reason is some groups having more power than others. When this happens, weaker people can't speak up freely. In the film, minority characters often stay calm and quiet around authority. This silence shows they are following the rules, not because they agree. When people face authority and the stereotypes for a long time, inequality starts to feel normal. Talking becomes more about avoiding trouble than sharing true thoughts. Minority characters try to stay polite and clean, and avoid saying or doing anything that could cause problems. This keeps communication on the surface and limits how much they can show who they really are. The film shows that power affects not just personal talks, but everyday social life too. Crash does a good job showing cross-cultural problems. The film tells many stories in the same city, showing how people from different backgrounds interact. Many conflicts come from fear or insecure, not really hate. Characters are not just good or bad, which makes the misunderstandings feel real and human. Some even change their mind to help others, showing that people can grow and learn. The film has some weaknesses. Some conflicts are made too dramatic, which can make problems seem bigger or simpler than they are. Some minority characters still look stereotypical. The film talks more about personal attitudes than big social problems, like unfair systems. Overall, the film is strong in showing emotions and stories, but it could show social issues more.